Every guy's been in the scenario where you're walking down the street with your mates, you look across the road and you spot this unbelievable looking girl, right? She's got blonde hair, blue eyes, she's got a crazy figure, right? And then you look next to her and you see this mediocre looking guy, right? This very average looking guy, or even it's an ugly guy, right? You turn to your friend and you say to him, how on earth has that man got her? How is he in a relationship with her? Well, this video is going to tell you exactly how. It's something called circumstantial hotness. Circumstantial hotness is where a man has perceived higher value based on the circumstance or the environment that is in, right? What this is going to do is if you're an average, mediocre looking guy and you have circumstantial hotness, this will 10x your attractiveness. You don't even have to be the best looking guy in the room and she will pick you over the Chad in the corner. Let me give you an example, right? Let's imagine a girl walks into a bar and she goes up to the bartender to get a drink on a night out, right? She's looking at that bartender as being more attractive than probably any other guy in that room. The reason for this is circumstantial hotness, right? The bartender, you can imagine in this position, he has all the power and all the authority, right? He controls how her night is going to turn out because he controls the alcohol. The interaction every time is always going to be very natural, right? Because she has to speak to him to get what she wants, and that puts him in a very good position. And also the fact that he has higher perceived value purely because of how important he is to that workplace, right? He's got his colleagues coming up whispering in his ear, telling him to do shit, right? And she's seeing all this subconsciously. She's paying attention to all this and she's thinking, this is a higher value man. He controls my fun. He controls how my night goes and everyone needs him, right? He's important to the whole night. So she's forgetting about the Chad in the corner. She's forgetting about all those good looking guys that are waiting in the bar for her. She's looking at the bartender as being the more attractive guy, even if he is the uglier, even if he is less attractive. Let me give you another example, right? The DJ in the club. How many times have you been to a club and you've seen girls just looking up at the DJ with starstruck eyes, right? Every girl wants the DJ, right? They'll even hold up signs saying, can I have your number? Talking about what songs to play. The reason this is because he's in a VIP position, right? He's got his own little booth. His perceived higher value is greater than that of a guy who's just dancing on the dance floor. He's got his own little section. He's got a couple of girls in that section too. So you've got to imagine all the social proof from all the other hot girls that are in his booth, and also the fact that he's controlling the fun because he's in control of the music brings his value up. So based on his environment, based on the circumstance that he is in and the job role that he is in, the girls want him, even if he's ugly. I need to stress to you guys that if you put any of these men in a normal environment where they don't have VIP status, where they don't have that high perceived value mask on, they will struggle as much as any other guy, if not worse, right? Because if you're a mediocre looking guy, if you're an ugly guy and you're just in that crowd in the bar, right? Or if you're not the DJ and you're dancing on the dance floor, guess what? You're going to struggle 10 times more than that DJ with high perceived value. You're going to struggle 10 times more than that bartender who's serving her every 20 minutes and gets to have a nice natural conversation with her and looks all important in his workplace, right? No one's different. I've got another example for you, right? How many times have you heard of an employee getting with the boss, right? I've heard this a bunch of different times, right? Employees will cheat with the bosses, right? Employees will mess around with people that are in a slightly higher positions than them. The reason this is because they are telling her what to do. Again, they are the authority figure, right? They've got a team behind them. Everyone is following them. They look like the leader. They're leading the team. All this is a mask. It's circumstantial hotness where that man looks more attractive based on his environment, based on his position. She's seen him control this whole business. She's seen him run the show. Therefore, a normal mediocre 5 or a mediocre 6 average looking guy can look like a 9 to her. You've got to think that every other employee either looks up to the boss, right? Or is shit scared of him, right? So in that position, what's she going to want to do? She's going to want to be associated with that higher perceived value. That's why you see loads of girls sleeping with the bosses. So when you see these very attractive girls with these mediocre, average looking guys, this is probably the cause, the circumstantial hotness, right? Especially from work, right? Most people are meeting the girlfriends at work anyway because they have that introduction without any awkwardness. They don't have to approach them. They speak to them every day. They spend loads of time with them. But it's not all sunshines and rainbows, right? Because where there's a big advantage, there's usually a massive drop that follows in the future. And the biggest problem with circumstantial hotness is that eventually it wears off. When this girl sees your routine, everyday living, and she starts to see that you're just a normal guy, right? This big perceived value that you've created through your work, through being a VIP in a certain scenario, like a DJ, like a bartender, and that mask comes off and she sees the true you. Trust me, she will end up leaving. The biggest problem that men have when it comes to circumstantial hotness is that over time he starts to go weak for the girl, right? So because of her beauty and because he sees himself as a more average, mediocre guy, he starts to simp on her, he starts to get attached to her, he starts to become a needy, desperate guy, and this forces her to see him for his true self. The mask comes off, the perceived high value disappears over time, and she ends up breaking up with him. And most guys can't handle it, right? This is why you see a lot of guys heartbroken. This is why you see a lot of guys disassociating themselves with dating, with seeing any more girls, because they have that one experience with that girl who's seen them as more attractive at the start, and then over time they've been their own worst enemy, and the girl's ended up wanting to leave because she now sees him for the 5'6" that he is to everyone else in the world. When you find yourself in this sort of position, guys, it's very important that you stay being the man that she met in the first place, right? The biggest reason why guys fail is because they change, right? They get this big attractiveness boost. This really pretty girl from work starts to fancy him. This really pretty girl who comes up to the bar if you're a bartender starts to fancy him, and he ends up getting soft. He ends up falling in love with her. He ends up getting feelings for her, and then the mask is unveiled because over that longer period of time, the truth will come out, right? You're just a normal guy, so you've got to keep up that perception, and you've also got to constantly be improving yourself, right? You've got to constantly be living up to the fact that you are a higher value guy, because it's going from perception to reality. Guys, if you like the video, drop it a like. We've reached a big milestone. I'm very grateful, and I'm going to keep on pushing and post as much content as possible. All right, leave a comment and subscribe to the channel for more. I love you.